What is up, everybody? My name is Jay. If you could take a moment, subscribe to my channel, and hopefully you maybe already are subscribed, but if not, go ahead, subscribe to this channel, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. It really helps with that algorithm. And I don't know if you guys know, but when I reach 3,000 subscribers, I'm gonna do a fishing reel giveaway. So just so you know, at 3,000 subscribers, guys, I'm really trying hard to get monetized. I know some people already think I am monetized. I am not, but I do need to get there. I would love to get there this year. So that is my goal right now, is to try to get monetized this year. I only got a few more months of this year, so we'll see what happens. But anyway, in today's video, what I want to go over, guys, is I'm taking a little bit of a turn. I'm going to do some educational stuff this time. This rig, I think, is the most important rig to know. I think it's the most versatile rig to know. I think it's the best rig for people that are in the beginning stage. And I think if you're a pro, I think it's something that you should never forget or put down. I think it always comes together in a pinch, and it's really not that expensive either. So in today's video, I'm going to teach you how to rig and fish the Texas rig. Okay, so the Texas rig literally is probably one of my favorite rigs. And you know what's funny? If you ask like any angler just about, I bet you the Texas rig is probably pretty far up on the list as far as favorites. I know people prefer different things, but that Texas rig, man, it's the best one to just kind of have in your back pocket when the tough days come. I mean, it's hot. Y'all may not be able to see it because I don't know, but I am sweating. And the fish are hot. When the fish are this hot, they seek shelter, they seek cool water, and the cool water is down at the bottom. So you want things that are going to get down at the bottom, and a lot of people will do deep diving and things like that too. The Texas rig is just like I said, it is the most versatile and universal rig out there that I think anybody can learn. So before I get into repeating myself more, let's start with how I rig the Texas rig. Now, the Texas rig can be weightless or it can be weighted. This right here is an 1/8 of an ounce tungsten weight. Now typically I'll use 1/4 of an ounce, but I actually don't have any. So for video's sake, we're still going to use something. I got an 1/8 of an ounce today. Take your tungsten weight and go ahead and you thread it on your line right through, just like that, no problem. And a lot of people do go weightless. I'm not against weightless. Me personally, usually use weighted. I use weightless sometimes. It really depends on what I'm throwing. If I'm throwing like a crawl or a worm, I'm usually have a little bit of weight on there. But if I throw like a swim bait or some sort of like something that's supposed to mimic more of swimming, then I'll throw it weightless. Take your favorite hook. In this case, this is a 3/0 hammer hook. I like 3/0 hammer hooks. I like 2s and 3s and 4/0s and hammers, and then just regular EWGs. A lot of people will use a straight shank hook as well. It's all a preference, man. That's all I gotta say. You don't just use the hook that you think is best, but truthfully, the EWG hook, in my opinion, the hammer hooks and the EWGs are more versatile as well. They just can tend to link up better with more plastics. I don't know how you want to put it, but these are my favorite, so that's what I'm gonna use. And the knot that I use, my knot of preference, guys, is the polymer knot. I do have a video on the polymer knot. It's pretty simple. You go through it again like that. I turn mine around because I'm dyslexic and can only tie it one way for some reason. I try other ways and it just never seems to come out right. But so essentially you get like this going on. Do a regular knot. If my weight over here would stop weighing me down. Do a regular knot. See if I can get it from the side view for y'all since it wants to pull over there. Put that loop through the loop there. Bring this one, pull your knot through, and then gently pull down. Make sure your line's all on there, not going around your little hook eye, and that it's supposed to be where it's supposed to go. Boom, polymer knot. One of the strongest knots out there too. A lot of anglers prefer it. A lot of professional anglers use it religiously. my favorite one. But it's all a preference. Cut that little extra there. Put it in your box somewhere, trash, whatever you prefer. Alright, so here's the actual Texas rig part. Take your favorite soft plastic. I'm going to go ahead and use this June Bug Crack and Crawl. The reason why is because the water I got here is a little muddy. It's like a red stain kind of. I mean, it's muddy, but it's, you know, it's just calling for a little bit of a darker color. I know a lot of people prefer their black and blues, but I like more of the plum coloration, the purples, June Bugs. That's just what I prefer. I'm taking the June Bug Crack and Crawl. Okay, so the way we hook that up is, got your hook, have it facing however you do it. A lot of people will do it like this, and I do it personally, I do it this way, and maybe that's again because I'm dyslexic, but I see a lot of people rig it like that, and to me that just kind of throws me off. But I know a lot of people that do rig it like this, so I rig it like this. But either way you want to do it, what you want to do is the upside, like the front, the top side of the plastic. See, there's little eyes on this guy. You can see them. Hopefully it focuses where you see those eyes. Okay, I want those eyes facing out. So like they're facing this way. So his back's to me. The bottom of the lure, so the plastic part, this part, is what we're going in hook first, okay? So eyes poking that way, bottom of the bait coming in the hook first. It's just like this. So then you want to take, listen guys, the amount that you do here, I've heard so many different. I've heard 1/2 inch, I've heard 1/4 inch, I've heard, you know, just kind of eyeball it. I go about, in my opinion, it is about 1/2 inch. The best eyeball that you can do for it, if you're using an EWG hook, whatever about this size of this little lip is right here, you see the hook, the bump, and then you see this little doohickey area right here where the eye is, do about that much of your plastic in, and that should be good. So, and then you push the hook through, like so, and you bring it all the way around, and you pull it, and as you're coming up to that little lip, you want to also spin while you're pushing, okay? And then you see it just kind of popped up there. I didn't even really do that. It went up there all by itself. It kind of just slips like it's meant to go. All right, so we do that. It's up on there. And then look, guys, now I got the eyeballs facing me. That's what we want. We want the eyeballs on this side. And most of these little crawls are going to have little areas that you got to break apart. So just make sure they're apart. I already broke mine. But then you eyeball it. So what I like to do is I like to eyeball about where on the hook. So can you see, look, where about on the hook does this end? Okay, you see? So right about that spot is where I'm going to bend my plastic back, and I'm going to poke it right through that same spot. Okay? And listen, as time goes by, you'll get faster at it, but take your time. Don't ruin your plastics just because you want to be a pro right away. It doesn't work like that. The only way pros become pros is by practicing. That's just how it goes. So take your time and get your plastic rigged right. So now guys, you see it sit on there. It's flat, it looks good, right? So we're not done yet. What we want to do is we want to call a Texpose. So if you can see, let me bring my lure up here so you can see it better. There's still a little bit of that hook showing right here. You see it? And that's a good view, yeah. So what we want to do is we want to take it, we want to make sure it's all lined up, and we're going to take the front of it and we're just going to gently push it forward, and then bring it back just a slight bit. So therefore, we are no longer exposed. So that's Texpose. That gets you weedless. So guys, that's the main rig of the Texas rig. Just like that. And that works for, like, there's a shorter list of rigs of plastics that don't work on a Texas rig. The plastics that do work on a Texas rig are like endless. You can throw a fluke, you can throw a crawl, a worm, like anything. Like really, it's an endless amount. Any kind of creature baits, crawls, all those great things. My favorite personally typically are crawdads. I also like using like the ribbon tail worms. Those I've become a big fan lately of. But that's the main rig, just like that. Now we're going to talk about how you fish with it. And this is the fun part. Okay. So, some of the best ways to fish the Texas rig is to throw it out there, and a lot of times you'll just get caught right on that drop. Those are my favorite, personally, when they just take it right on the drop. Excuse me. My other favorite is when I'm throwing a crawl specifically. It seems like it happens more to me. Now, it could be different for you. Go ahead and comment below if this is different for you. But for me, when I'm throwing a crawl and I leave it out there, like I literally will get on my phone or something, you know, that's 90% of the time that's what happens, is I'll just leave it out there and I'll get on my phone. And when I get on my phone, I'll get distracted, and by the time I'm done, I'm not even done yet and a fish took it. So like, I like to leave it out there. It's slow, but you know what, on hot days like this, and it's funny how these patterns happen with bass. Yes, they like hot weather. Yes, they're cold-blooded and they prefer to, you know, hunt when it's warmer. But there is a degree where it gets too hot. And so they slow down themselves and they start going towards the thermocline line, which is below a certain level. It's different for every pond, but there's a certain point where the water below it is colder. Now, it takes less oxygen too, so believe it or not, the bigger fish are the ones that are going to be down there too, because they can withstand more oxygen than the smaller fish. So the smaller fish can't really necessarily go that deep, and if they can, they can't do it for long because they require more oxygen, and I don't know, it's just funny how it works. But I do know that the big ones are deep, and patience is a virtue when it comes to Texas rigging. You fish it too fast, you still can get them sometimes, but you get those big ones just by waiting for them sometimes. And the big ones don't get big by being dumb, I feel like. The big ones get big by being smarter than the average bear, or they've gotten caught more than enough times that they finally learned their lesson, so now they're like, I'm not gonna bite that. It looks too weird, but they will. There's like a higher chance of them actually biting yours if it's just sitting there not doing anything. If it doesn't look suspect, must be food, right? Another way of fishing the Texas rig is by dragging. So you take it, let me see if I can get this on camera better. You literally just kind of drag and then stop, reel in your extra. Drag and then stop. I might have a better view of that on this one here on my chest. You seriously just reel in. Now, another way, and this one's cool too, when you know they're moving a little bit faster, you know for a fact, like it's a beautiful day, and I'm gonna step back a little bit. Hopefully y'all can still hear me decently in this one. If not, I'll just do voice layover. But this one I like to do because when you throw it out, you know, you got a crawdad on there, specific to crawdad plastics because of the movement that gets made. If you've ever seen a crawdad underwater, and I don't know if I can find a short of that or not, but when they're laying there and they're trying to run, they kind of go up and out. So they go up and out. Or how's it? Up and out. That's how they run away. So you got a crawdad under there and you got the phalanges all up like this, doing this number in the water. And let's say you got a bass looking at it. You want it to look like it's going to retreat. It's scared, so you go pop, pop. 2 pops. 2 big pops. You let it sit. Finding your own cadence is the biggest thing, because different fish are different at different ponds. That's a lot of difference. Let's talk about weights for a second. When we're talking about weights, I usually use an eighth of an ounce, or I'm sorry, I usually use a quarter of an ounce. I didn't have a quarter of an ounce today. I said that earlier. But I usually use a quarter of an ounce or an eighth of an ounce. And that all depends on the depth of the body of water that you're fishing. You know, I use those because typically the ponds that I'm fishing aren't as deep as a lake. Now, there is a place that I go to now that I know it's at least 30 foot deep. So I go up to a 3/8 or a ½ ounce at that pond, you know. But I know other people who might go even deeper, who might go even heavier on 30-foot bodies of water. But personally, I just don't, I think the most versatile range of weights that are out there are down from 1/8 all the way up to half. I think if you're going anything above that, you really are fishing some deep waters or some hard moving waters, something that's really needing you to get down there and stay down there. But for most bank fishermen, somewhere between 1/8 of an ounce to ½ an ounce, and that's golden. Since we were talking about weights, something else I really want to talk about is what kind of rod should you use? That is important in my opinion. And a lot of people will tell you, it doesn't really matter. Now, kind of, I feel like to an extent, it matters. Whoa. I wish I could have seen that. I was worried I was going to be getting up in a tree there. So, I feel like it matters. Not to everybody, it doesn't. And I'm not saying if you want and you don't have it, you can't just use what you have. You can. But to get the most effect out of the Texas rig, it's literally like what most people have already. Somewhere in the 7-foot range. Mine specifically is, this one's a 7.3. It's a medium heavy, and it has a fast action tip. To me, that's the biggest thing, having that fast action tip. That is the most important thing in my opinion. Why? Because you have something that you really need to feel the sensitivity on when it comes to a Texas rig. You want to be able to feel every little nibble that a fish puts on that. My rod is so sensitive, I'm feeling the dang dragonflies on the tip of my rod and wondering if it was a fish for a second there. And it was just a dragonfly. But I felt him. I felt every little vibration from that dragonfly just now. It's kind of fascinating. Especially when I'm trying to talk about this point right now. But you really need to set the hook on a Texas rig. When I've talked about it, I think I've talked about it before in other videos. In not my last video, but in a video where I talk about how to pick the right rod. When you have a fast action tip, you want something that it's for setting the hook like quickly, essentially. That's the best way I put it. Right? I'm trying to remember how I put it in that video because it made a lot of sense. If you're using something like a crankbait, you don't set the hook necessarily. You just ride with it. But when you are with a Texas rig or a jig or something like that, you want a fast action tip so that you can set the hook. You want it to pierce the lip. You want it to not leave that fish's mouth after it's got it in its mouth. So, fast action hook, fast action tip, I feel like is the most important thing when it comes to what you should fish with when it comes to a Texas rig. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you have a different opinion. If so, be sure to leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about that. Because to me, that seems to be one of the more important factors when it comes to your rod choice. Because reel choice, me personally, something in the 7 range, maybe something a little slower in the 6 range. You really don't want something that's in the 8 range or higher. There's no point in being that fast with a Texas rig. There's just not. So, good old average Joe reel in the 7s or 6 speeds should be good. Not even going to get too specific on that one. I feel like the reel is more versatile than a rod. Even though people will argue with me about it too, I'm sure. Oh, something else to go over is the actual line that you're using. Personally, I use fluorocarbon or a fluorocarbon mono white hybrid. It really depends, but typically I'm using fluorocarbon, 12 to 15 pounds. But again, guys, it really all depends on the weight you're using, depends on the rod you're using, the method of the madness. But Texas rigs sink, you want them at the bottom, use sinking line. I feel like fluorocarbon is the best bet for that. Both braid and mono float, and it's not that they won't work. Mono's cheaper, it'll work just fine. It's just a fact. Also, I use tungsten weights. I'm really not sure if I mentioned that in the beginning or not, but I haven't been using tungsten weights that long, and the reason is because I haven't been fishing that long. So I have barely just gotten the confidence in feeling like I can afford tungsten weights, because tungsten weights cost more money. That's just a fact. Yes, they give better appearance. Yes, they're smaller. Yes, they make more noise. But if you can't afford them, just go with the regular old, I can't think about what the other metal is right now. The silver ones. There's so many people right there probably being like, it's this. Yep. I'll think of it eventually, and I'll mention it. But the other ones, the silver ones, the regular plain old metal ones, the cheaper ones. Alright guys, I'm going to end the video there. Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't get to actually catch a fish for you guys, but I do got to go. I got some things I got to get done today. The point of the video, like I said, was to really show you how to rig it and how to fish it. And like I said, guys, this Texas rig is my favorite rig, I feel like. I love fishing with other things, but when in doubt, I always Texas rig it out. That's just the way to go. It is so versatile. It is easy. It is affordable. You know, it's just like the juice. Like, if you're not fishing Texas rig, what are you doing? But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Okay, let's try again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, turn on all your notifications so you know when the next video drops. I am trying to get really good about that. It sucks standing right here on a pond when you see fish. But anyway, guys, I'm at an outro. I'm ADD or ADHD, whichever, I'm not sure. I got diagnosed as ADD as a kid, and I have more symptoms now of ADHD. Anyway, guys, intro, outro, that's what I'm on. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, turn on all your notifications so you know when the next video drops. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for the next one. You guys know how it goes. We're out there fishing. We are out there catching. We are out there trying to teach the most versatile rig out there. No complaints. Oh yeah, I have a giveaway. Yeah, 3,000 subscribers, guys. You want a reel? Maybe you should subscribe. Maybe you should tell your friends to subscribe. Yeah, at 3,000 subscribers, we're going to do some awesome reel giveaway. I don't know. It's always free to subscribe, and you can always unsubscribe later.